My name is Dr. Alasan Usman from Federal Capital Internal Revenue Service. I am here to make some clarification about tax compliance processes for individuals, for individuals. You know, in Nigeria, we are practicing federal system of government. We have three types of government. We have federal government, state government, and local government. And each type of government has a responsibility to its citizens. There are certain provisions for public services that are supposed to be provided by federal government, by state government, and by local government. So, where do we think this government will get the money to provide those services? The government can only get those money from taxes. So federal government has its own revenue authority, that is Federal Inland Revenue Service and FCT Internal Revenue Service. In each state, there is a state internal revenue service. And in local government, they have local government revenue coming. But this is not the point of our discussion, because I believe most of you are complaining of double taxation or multiple taxation. Federal government will go and ask you to pay this, state government will ask you to pay this, and local government will ask you to pay this. But actually, there are like clear demarcation for each revenue authority to operate. For income taxes, there are only two authorities that are authorized to collect income taxes. This is federal government and state government. In federal government, we have, as I said earlier, we have FIRS, Federal Inland Revenue Service, and we have for FCT, because we don't have governor in FCT, we only have a minister. There is a FCT Internal Revenue Service. In other states, there are state internal revenue service. For your income tax, the clear demarcation is that if you have a company, if your organization is a company, you are paying your income tax toward Federal Inland Revenue Service, that is FIRS. But if you are an individual or an enterprise, if you are registered as an individual or an enterprise, you will pay your taxes to FCT Internal Revenue Service. And for the issue of multiple taxation, I think this recent tax reform bill that is about to become an act has taken care of that adequately. Now, now currently that I'm speaking, we have about 50 different taxes in Nigeria. You will have to pay this for this. But all these taxes are harmonized. Now, if the act was signed by the president, you have less than 10 taxes. You only pay only one tax to only one revenue authority, which you are supposed to belong to. If you are a company, mostly you belong to FIRS, and if you are an enterprise, you belong to FCTRS if you are in Abuja. That is, if you are in other state, you pay your income taxes to the state where you are resident. And as a taxpayer, you have only 4 responsibilities. Only 4. The first responsibility is to register. That is the first compliance process. Just to register. The moment you commence your business, you have to register with any revenue authority which you are resident to or which you are supposed to domicile to. The second obligation is to file your returns. Make a declaration. We are in a self-assessment area. Nobody will come and tell you pay this. You're supposed to. You are the one that you know your business better than anybody. You know your business, you know about it. If you are making profit, you know. If you are carrying loss, you know. And taxing is only when you are having a profit. If you are in business, you are the one to compute your income, compute the tax liability, go to a transaction bank and pay. That is all. That is all your responsibility. Register, make a declaration, file the returns, and pay the taxes. You should not pay the taxes in cash. There are transaction bank that you are supposed to pay. I think we should share a pamphlet that will give you more information on how to comply. I will continue to work with your organization because we heard that they are organizing this meeting. That's why we call them. We say this is an opportunity for us to come and discuss with you and to share more knowledge with you about how to comply with these taxes. And in Abuja, we don't have much to complain about government. So if you go to other states, Abuja has more public services than any other state in Nigeria. So we don't have much to complain in Abuja. As the other presenter is saying, you can see a lot of things are going on in Abuja. So if without your support, if you are with that where do you think the government will take money to provide all the services to you? So we are soliciting for your support. If you have any other question or any observation, you can put it on. Thank you.
Thank you for the brief. In fact, just less than 10 minutes, you quickly gave us the highlight. Okay.
Thank you very much. Let me just quickly ask one question. We are all aware that there's a tax reform which has been passed by the National Assembly, which we expect the President to sign into law. My basic understanding is that any company that has turnover less than 50 million is tax exempt. It just means it's tax exempt. And because most of us we see here are small-scale businesses, and very few of us have turnover above 50 million. And we also know that if you have staff that earn less than 800,000, your tax exempt. So we'd like for you to shed more light as you can, because we know that by the time this tax law is passed, it will be business as usual. So the government is going to go way out to get money. So we use this opportunity for our members to get the education that they need. Yes, we know that it's supposed to be self-assessment, but we know we're in Nigeria. There will still be some people that will wear uniform and come and start talking story and say we are supposed to pay this. So please enlighten our members on the tax reform. What our responsibilities are, what category of companies are supposed to pay tax, what category of staff are supposed to pay tax, and how we're supposed to do that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Let me first make a clarification about self-assessment and the provision of law. The law empower you to assess yourself because you know the business, you know your own business better than you. And self-assessment was built on two principles. That is, government believes that you are honest. You are honest, you honestly declare your income, and you have a tax knowledge. You can compute the tax yourself. If you don't have that knowledge, you can hire a tax consultant to do that for you. Then, but since the government empowers you, give you the right to assess yourself. If you fail to assess yourself during the stipulated period of time, the government will not sit down. The government will come. And the government will assess you. And the law says the government should assess you based on their own judgment. So if the government allow you to use a spoon to take something from your plate, you refuse to do that. And the law gives government power to come with a shovel to take it. How do you think will happen? So it's better for you to assess yourself within this period of time. Because you are paying income tax once annually, and you have to pay within 90 days from the commencement of every government year. That is, if you are an enterprise, if you are an individual, you have 90 days. If you are a company, you have 6 months to prepare and file your returns. You have that rest period. And for the tax reform bill, you know, registration, you have two kinds of registration. If you go to CAC, you have to register, you have a choice. Whether you register as a limited liability company or you can register as the word enterprise. So your registration will determine which revenue authority you are going to deal with for the purpose of income taxes. If you register as a limited liability, you are going to deal with what Federal Inland Revenue Service. And if you are registered as an enterprise, the law still recognizes you as you are the same person. It is as if you are an individual. When you make it to decide as a limited liability company, that company is an artificial person. It's a different person from you. You pay your tax differently, and that company pay your tax differently. So for the tax, even before the tax reform bill, if you have a company that is earning an annual income less than 25 million naira, that company is exempted from paying tax. That company is exempted from paying only income tax. But there are certain taxes. I told you in Nigeria we have more than 50 taxes. FIRS, they are collecting about 11 taxes. State Revenue Service, currently they are collecting about 20 taxes. Then local revenue authority, they are collecting about 22. But now with this tax funding, they are harmonized, they were reduced into less than 10 taxes. Into less than 10 taxes. So it's not all income, it's not all taxes that you are exempted from payment. It's income taxes if you are a company. But if you are an enterprise, because if you are a company, the company is exempted. The company is exempted from paying tax. But you as an individual, you are not exempted from paying your own taxes. Because as a director of a company, as a chairman of a company, you have your own income. You pay your income taxes to the state revenue authority where you are resident. So, and if you have employees under you, the government appoints you as an agent of collection. When you are paying your salary, when you are paying their salary, you deduct some income under a specific guideline and remit that income to a particular revenue authority where those people are residents. But even currently, if you are paying your staff less than a minimum wage, at that time the minimum wage is what? At that time, it's 30,000. If there are every person that is earning less than 30,000 is exempted for pay, you can't deduct anything from the salary and remit it to any of that thing. Even before the passing of the tax reform bill now, if you are, as you said, 80,000, well, actually the amended PPP more than 80,000 is about 840,000. Because if you are earning less than 70,000 naira, if your staff are earning less than 70,000 naira, they are exempted from paying income tax. Okay.
Now, you have opened more light into what we just confessed. Like you just said now, we have employees, some of these companies you see seated here. We don't pay salaries. We pay based on commission. So when somebody sells a bag for you, you pay the person 20 naira. And if the person sells 200 bags, we calculate 200 bags times 20 naira. And that's how we pay. How do you, because, and this person, by the time you calculate what the person has at the end of the year, you know what it goes. You have something?
Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we appreciate your invite to this meeting. We've actually been looking forward to having an engagement with Atwa. So coincidentally, we're informed that going to be a general meeting. So let's use this opportunity to talk to our taxpayers. You are the goose that lays the golden egg, so we appreciate you. And really, nobody wants to pay taxes because of the burden. But what the federal government is doing is to relieve the burden as much as possible. And by the time that bill is passed, you will see the number of incentives that will make businesses to try. The only thing I will say is that they are not giving you money to say, because there's another scheme for that. The purpose of tax, there's so much incentives contained in that legislation. Now let me quickly address what you mentioned before and now take you through the whole gamut of the tax system. There's something we're going to share. I'll send to you how to register, how to make payments, and what other things that we need to do with ease. I will share so they can dig in the soft copy. Now, on this issue of commission, nobody charges you because the taxes you pay, either as an individual or an enterprise or company, are based on income. Commission, if it's a company Commission will come as an additional income, as other income. You understand? But depending on who's receiving the commission, because there are two ways. Under the Nigerian tax law, commission is susceptible or chargeable to withholding tax deduction. So if I'm paying you commission, the law says I should take withholding tax on it. So whoever is making that payment will deduct withholding tax. And the moment withholding tax has been deducted from that commission, you cannot subject it to another tax. It should not be subjected to another tax. And that's why you must always obtain evidence of whatever taxes have been deducted from you. So you can present it anywhere. Look, that it's just the same way we talk about dividend and talk about frac investment income. The moment you are charged, somebody is paying you dividend, companies will always deduct withholding tax. And the moment they have deducted withholding tax, when you even put it in your financials, it will be treated as what we call frac investment income. Because that withholding tax, that dividend has been subjected to withholding tax. Even rental income. So all these things are areas what we want to do is to bring you to a larger stakeholders forum, where we can lecture you. It's not as if you don't know, but where we can lecture you on taxation and hear how your view too about how we can practice tax that will be beneficial to everybody. So if all you earn is commission, the person that is paying you that commission for a company is at 10%, for an individual is about 5%. And normal commission has been taken from that income. That part of earning is no longer chargeable to tax. If you have other incomes that will come, that's different. And that is why in Nigeria, what we have, the Nigerian tax system is such that we have the federal, we have the state, and we have the local government. For the federal, the taxes you pay, if you are a limited liability company, if you are an enterprise, if you are an individual, they are very clear, in line with what is contained, which is now been amended, Taxes and Levies Act. For a company, you pay company's income tax. If you are in the petroleum sector, you pay petroleum profit tax. You pay education tax, and you pay technology levy and stuff. The new amendment now has consolidated all that in such a way that one income is not taxed twice. But that is not to say, because these are special purpose taxes we use for developing those areas. So what the amendment has done is to consolidate it in such a way that, look, the government will have a way of getting that money from the income tax that has been charged and consolidated, rather than for you to pay companies income tax, pay police tax, pay technology tax, pay education tax, and all that, which has been addressed by the new legislation. Because we are a federal system, at the federal level, at the state level, there's the state internal revenue, which is what FCTIRS is doing for the FCT. Because the FCT now is having the status of a state for the purpose of tax. Prior to that, 2015, was the Federal Internal Revenue Service that was collecting the taxes for the FCT. But they now have an establishment act, and so they collect what they collect from you if you are an enterprise. If you're a company, it is your staff that you have, and depending on the number, you need to be mindful of that also. That depending on the number, because if you have a number that is lower than the number of, you understand, the way they will tax you is different. But if you meet up that number, you are supposed to be paying, deducting pay as you earn from your staff and remitting on monthly basis. At the end of the year, you aggregate that and file the returns for the pay as you earn of all your individuals. But on a monthly basis, whatever you deduct from there, you remit and follow up with a schedule. And when you remit the pay as you earn for the staff, what the service is supposed to do automatically for you is that at the beginning of the year, they process your tax clearance immediately. So on demand, because the law says on demand, they just push the to you. And I think they've also amended that there's an amendment to the TCC clause, which, because I don't know what the final output is, so I cannot, but there's an amendment to this issue about on demand. Because tax clearance certificate, whether we like it or not, is a compliance tool in the hands of the revenue authority. Then if you are an enterprise, you and the company you are the same. you pay because the payee and the direct assessment are personal income tax, and that is what you pay as individual or an enterprise. So you either use the pay as you earn method, or you make the direct assessment, which is based on your annual income. So what is advised is that you aggregate all your income for the period. As long as you go above the threshold that you are not exempted from tax, you understand? You subject it to deductions, because you have deductions. And one of the challenges we have is that a lot of you don't feel that form that enables you to claim credit. You will be surprised with the number of benefits that sits in that personal income tax. And let me take you out of this environment and move you to the IRS system. In the IRS, everybody files returns because of so many reasons. One of which is the benefits. Because you will see them say they have tax back. The moment they have overtaken your money and you feel, they're taking so much from you and you feel that returns for, if you have overpaid, they give you back your money. If you have underpaid, they tell you this is why it's coming. So for your insurance, for so many consolidated, if you pay premium, there are so many things you can benefit. There's a consolidated relief, first and foremost, which is the first time that one must be given to you. Capital allowances that you incur for your business, machines you buy, and all those kind of things, you are supposed to write them up in your tax return such a way that you write them to 10 naira or 10 kobo, or 10 naira, let me do you at 10 naira. So everything you must pay. So that's what we call the capital allowances. So the moment you incur capital allowances, annually there's a charge that you put there, and you'll be collecting back that capital expenditure. Because what we talk about is your capital expenditure and your operating expenses. Even all the money you pay to paying, overhead and everything, you write it off against your income. So it is the bottom line that is taxed. But you need that understanding. You really need that understanding. Then that is for states. Now local government revenue authorities also have, based on the taxes and levies taxes that are collected. But what the authorities are doing across the state is to harmonize all these things and issue you one bill. And FCTRS has adopted it. Just that they still in process. They will issue you one bill, so that AMA will not disturb you. And whatever, the signposts and all those kind of things, nobody will come to your table. That is what the FCT minister is doing presently, to see that let's harmonize all these things. Let's have one single bill. Let everybody accept that these bills are payable. Remember, we all agreed, because it's going to be agreed at the stakeholders' engagement to say yes, we are ready to pay this, we are ready to pay this. This is what is the nuisance as we are not ready to pay. When we agree, we issue one bill that will cover for the personal income tax and all those taxes are collectible at the municipal level, so that you can pay it once and for all. Nobody is disturbing you back and forth. Because of the notice that we got, because I was just informed about this thing about some hours ago, and still, let's come and talk to you. But we need to have this. Let's arrange for another forum where we can have everybody. You have to pay for it. We have just discuss ourselves, agree on the way forward, understand, because you are the business that is paying this tax, this money that we're using to do everything. You understand? It's not the authority. It's not the authority, but you. Thank you very much. My name is Chesney. I'm actually the director of FIRS. I'm doing some consultancy for them at the state level.
And that is the summary we actually want to have, that we will create another time that this will be spelled out elaborately, so that all of us will get, because some things is still not clear. So that we not open floors for arguments. So we will organize another forum whereby we will come in again, because even if it's from one zone, yes. Yes. What is making me to understand is that everybody should know that it is compulsory that you file your returns. So what he's saying is that you can approach any of their office, their state office, meet somebody. This is the number of staff I'm having. You explain things to them. I know somebody already explained things like this to me. No, when they say, oh, I approached you, they say, okay, how many staff do you have? Based on this, okay, this is what, go and pay this. And that is fine. And nobody will run after you. So if you still have another thing, who can they call? So for more clarification and explanation. Okay, so we will post this on our platform, on all our zones, so that we can always contact somebody there. And I believe that when we are contacting somebody, the person will be open-minded, not the person that will be after what he will get behind. Yes, exactly. So please, we would like for you to address that, so that it will not be something that somebody will be running away from. So that's why people avoid all these things. Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming. Now they have just given us this. We don't want to, what we say is that anything that will throw us out, we don't want to go much into the question, as we have just said. We will post the contacts on our platform. Please feel free calling them. And if you have any issue, if anybody, you are finding it difficult with any of those people, who can we contact? Yes, please. We will appreciate that. Because, we have different people on the field, who can make life difficult for people. Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming. Now, we will take in 10 minutes from the solar man.